Kathleen Kennedy, your time has come.
This provocative idea, who is Luke Skywalker, that would be something that was said by one of our characters. Leslie Headland is ushering in this new era of Star Wars.
I have had enough of you shitting on this beloved franchise. Star Wars is officially cooked, and you will now have to feel the wrath of screen stories. I grew up on Star Wars and have loved this franchise for most of my life, and if you're a fellow fan, you likely have similar frustrations with this current era of Star Wars. Disney had a nice little Mickey Mouse run at first with The Force Awakens and Rogue One, but it's been mostly rough sledding since then. You simply can't give us the Book of Boba Fett, The Acolyte, a half-cooked Kenobi series, a disastrous Mandalorian Season 3, and a shitty conclusion to the sequel trilogy, and then proceed to blame the fan base for the failure of your regime. You need to give us a reason to want to watch and enjoy the content you're producing. And right now, I just don't care about Disney Star Wars. I'm not even at the point where I want to hate watch these terrible series. No, I just don't care enough to seek them out in any capacity. And even though it's brought a few good things, I'd prefer to live in a world where Disney never bought Star Wars and the franchise just stopped after the Clone Wars. I mean, let's be honest, Star Wars fans have the capacity to be some of the most delusional people you'll ever meet. As long as you make something serviceable, they will probably gas it up and act like it's incredible. The Ahsoka show is a great example of this. That series is perfectly mid. It had some cool moments, some pretty boring stretches, and ended in a really anticlimactic way. But fans for the most part were fairly happy with it. And if Ahsoka is the bar you're being held to, and you're consistently failing to even meet that expectation, I mean, just pack it up. You're cooked and you shouldn't be making Star Wars content. You're really out here missing layups. Most Star Wars nerds, including myself, have been dying for an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie covering some of his time on Tatooine. Besides the sequel trilogy, I'd say that this project probably had the most fan anticipation in the entire Disney era. And what do? First off, you change it into a series for some reason, and then you give it half the budget that you gave The Acolyte? You don't understand Star Wars, and you certainly don't understand what its fans want. You just don't. You really thought that us as fans would care more about The Acolyte than Obi-Wan? Before even watching The Acolyte and seeing how bad it was, I could have told you that fans would care more about the Kenobi series, because of course they would. It's Obi-Wan fucking Kenobi. What are you doing? As a person who makes YouTube videos on topics surrounding TV and film in my free time, I've of course made quite a few Star Wars based videos, but I'm at the point where as I'm brainstorming ideas for Star Wars related topics, the most logical ideas are to make rewrite videos where I attempt to fix a shitty series or movie that Disney gave us. And it's like, why am I, someone who works a normal 9 to 5, needing to come up with ways to fix your mistakes in order to cover your content? Aren't there a bunch of writers who are being paid good money to do this in the first place? It's just sad to see what has become of this once great franchise. Now, if you're like me and you have love for what Star Wars used to be, you may have asked yourself, how do we save this sinking ship? And I have an idea that will certainly fall on deaf ears, but my Operation Save Star Wars begins like this: radio silence. I want radio silence for at least 5 years, maybe even 8 to 10. I don't want to hear a peep about any new Star Wars projects or updates on anything being in production. Give us time to forget about and cleanse our palates of all of your recent failures. And then, out of the blue, years and years since your last Star Wars movie or show, hit us with a Knights of the Old Republic trailer. And at the end of it, let us know it's coming out in a few months. It might be hard to pull this off in the chronically online world we live in today, but imagine the hype that would be created if we didn't hear anything from Disney about Star Wars or any future plans, and then find out that a Knights of the Old Republic movie is not only made, but is coming to theaters in just a few months? The story is literally written, you just have to adapt it, and fans have practically been begging for it. But no, we instead put $180 million behind The Acolyte? And even worse, we allow that damn near $200 million show to be headed by people who don't even understand the Force or Star Wars? You just deserve to fail at this point, but if you want to stop failing, do what I just suggested. Maybe the whole releasing the film only a few months after the trailer drops is unrealistic, but the radio silence for years into a surprise Knights of the Old Republic movie trailer during the Super Bowl or some shit would be a pathway into creating fan anticipation again. And I mean, it's very simple. It's essentially Game of Thrones, but with fucking lightsabers. Literally take my fucking money. It's an untapped opportunity to rake in some serious moolah and to make fans happy at the same time. Since the Skeleton Crew series is dropping next week, you might be curious if I have any hype for the show, and the answer is absolutely not. Could it be good? Maybe. Would I bet on it being good? Not a chance in hell. We've gotten way more bad than good during the Disney era of Star Wars, and yet again, this is really a show that I feel like nobody was asking for, so suffice to say I have no hype or anticipation for it. Disney has killed my hopes for the franchise at this point in time, which is why Star Wars is absolutely cooked. Well, if you made it this far, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this massive rant. And let me know in the comments, how do you feel about the Disney era of Star Wars? Do you think it's underrated and receives too much criticism? Or are you like me and are thinking of ways they could desperately reignite hype for the franchise? Please feel free to drop a like or subscribe if you'd like to see more Screen Stories content. Until next time, peace.